Be honest with me for a second. Did you hit your YouTube goals for 2025? If you're like most creators, you had big ambitions coming into this year that didn't really pay off. But most creators never fix that problem. They keep going, trying again year after year without breaking that cycle. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you the ridiculously easy 3-step framework that I use for both my channel and my clients' channels to make it way more likely that you'll actually hit your goals next year. The first time I tried this 4 years ago, I grew my channel from 300 subscribers all the way up to 50,000, a goal that I thought was completely impossible to hit at the time. So by the end of this video, you're not just gonna have a list of meaningless goals. No, you're gonna have a clear plan that actually works. So if you're excited and ready to dive in, be sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Starting with phase 1, analysis. Okay, so before we can do anything, we need to get a better picture of what actually happened in the last year. What worked, what didn't, what can we improve on, all of that. For this, we're going to be using the 80-20 rule, which is that 80% of your results typically come from 20% of your inputs. So for this, we're gonna be looking for that 20% to expand on what's worked, what has the most results, and do more of that. Now, the best example I can give of this is that usually if you post weekly, that's 52 videos in a year, the majority of your views in that year are gonna come from 1 or 2 videos. That small sample size of just a couple videos has this large result of a ton of views. That's what happens with the 80-20 principle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our YouTube studio, we're gonna study a ton of analytics data so that you can get a good picture of what's working and what isn't. Now, I'm gonna be doing this in my year-end channel review document. This keeps everything nice and organized, makes it really easy to see what actually matters. So if you wanna follow along, I have it linked down below in the description as well, completely free. I recommend you go get that set up and then come back. All right, so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna look at my channel as an example here. I've filled out this document so that we can go through from top to bottom. I'll give you a quick analysis of everything that happened on my channel and share some thoughts as well. What I did is I took all of the data from the last 2 years and added that in, starting with the high level data like views, watch time, subscriptions, revenue, etc. We also looked at upload trends, videos posted, shorts posted, live streams, and the type of viewership coming into the channel, tracking all of this high level data to get a quick picture of how this year was in comparison to previous years. Looking at 2025, you can see that this is actually a pretty bad year for viewership, down almost 80%, and watch time 50%, subscribers 60%. Like this is really low, right? This should be pretty concerning. But then when you look a little bit deeper, you can see that revenue is actually up by 0.65%. The videos definitely came down a lot. Shorts definitely came down a little bit as well. But if you look at the video views, my long form content had a massive increase in viewership, whereas my short form content took a huge hit. So you see this high level data, it looks pretty concerning, but when you look a little bit deeper, there's something else for me to follow here. The goal with this is that you're gonna track this high level data to see what you really need to focus on. Now, my goal coming into 2025 was to shift my channel from being about short form content to long form content. So yeah, these metrics look really concerning, 80% view drop. But when I see that the majority of my shorts of viewership when I see that, my shorts viewership didn't really make up as significant of a chunk as the long form this year, that's a pretty good sign. It's a signal that things actually worked for my goals. Really what you wanna do is just go through and track all of this data. You don't have to put these percentages here, but I do recommend it. I find it makes it a little bit easier just to see your progression year over year over year. Takes a bit of math, but worth that extra effort. After that, what you wanna go through and do is get your video breakdown. So you're gonna track your video performance at a high level. Then you're gonna look at your top performing videos this year. Now I wanna show you how you can pull these up. So if you look at your high level analytics, you'll see your top 10 videos from this year by hitting 2025, right? But the issue is that if you post both shorts and long form content like I do, it's kind of hard to track your long forms and your shorts separately. So how do you actually pull this up? Well, if you scroll up and you hit advanced mode here, you can see your top performing videos. And what you do is you go into filter here, you select content type, and you can start with videos just like that. So now by looking at this, I have my 10 highest viewed videos of this year all laid out in a nice, easy to follow format. There's room for you to add these all in the template. When I added all of mine in here, including the high level video data and all of the other metrics, this is what I came up with. Now, personally for me, I wanted to see what year these videos came out, and I highlighted the 2025 videos in yellow, marked the other ones that aren't from 2025 with the year beside them. And I thought it was kind of interesting that only 30% of my top performing videos from this year were posted this year, which does make sense because when you look at my videos posted, it did take a pretty significant hit in 2025. Now, again, we want to look at some of the other data too. So I did track the CTR percentage here, and I did also track my average view duration. Our goal for CTR is over 5%, and average view duration, because we're looking at the video stats, you want to see it increase year over year, which I actually have. It's gone up by about 2 minutes every single year. You can get this data a lot more simply. You just have to head into the content tab here and click on videos, and it'll all be listed out here nicely for you. And then next, we're almost done the data collection, I promise. We're gonna do the same thing for shorts, so you can follow that same process. You'll go into here, look at shorts, you do the advanced mode again, and it'll give you all the data that you need. You can again track your top performing shorts, and now for me, this wasn't as significant. I'm not as focused on shorts going into 2026, so I just collected the data to see how I did and moved on. And then last but not least, you wanna collect your revenue data because this gives you a really good picture of how your business is doing on the back end as well. So you wanna head into your revenue tab, and you can scroll down to filter by each type here. That's the first part of the analysis phase. Basically, you just need to go through all of your different YouTube Studio data, collect it into this document, and then really start manipulating it, thinking about what it means. If your click-through rate dropped this year on your long form videos, for example, what does that actually mean? Are your thumbnails worse? Are your titles worse? What caused that drop off? Was it the topic selection? There's so many questions that you want to ask based on this data. So if you've already taken the time to go through all of this data, that's where we want to have some more deep analysis. So if you look at these pages, the ones that are in the template right here for you as well, you're going to see that there's boxes at the bottom of every single page. I strongly recommend that you take notes in each of those sections to fill in questions, to fill in thoughts that you have based on the data that you're finding here. And I recommend that you just really think deeply about what this means. Don't just look at the data at face value. Okay, so now we've gone through and done all of this. We're going to keep those thinking caps on and keep going even further. First things first, I want you to take everything you were just thinking about, all the notes that you wrote down, pretty much every piece of information that you now have in your brain, and I want you to rank each of these 5 categories out of 10 based on how you did in 2025. So for me personally, if I had to rank these categories, let's see what I think. I would say for me in 2025, my viewership, I would give a 7 out of 10. Now, remember, my views are down by a significant amount in 2025. The reason I took away 3 on that though is that I posted 101 shorts still this year, and I didn't really see the viewership that came along with that. So a lot of time spent on those shorts, not as much viewership to back it up. For output, I would give myself a solid 3 out of 10. I wanted to post more long form videos this year, and somehow I posted half of what I did in 2024. I didn't even come close to my goal. That's a 3 out of 10. Packaging, I think this improved drastically, even though the click-through rate did come down. If we look at my video performance, went from a 6% down to a 4.5%. My impressions dramatically increased, and the videos that did well were across a wide range of different niches. So for me to still have a 4.5% with millions of impressions, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna give myself a 7 out of 10. I think I've improved my process. It's getting there. Retention, up by a lot. My videos are getting longer. People are watching more of them. I'm happy with that. I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. And in terms of revenue, my RPMs have increased this year. I've been posting more aligned videos to make more money. So I'm actually gonna give this an 8 out of 10 as well. As you can see, I'm very harsh on what's gonna get a 10 out of 10. Even though I'm happy with retention and revenue, there's still room to improve. So 8 out of 10. So knowing this quick litmus test, I can see that, okay, my output is what I need to really focus on next year. Viewership will come with output, so I'm not worried about that, but I want to focus on my packaging and my output. Retention and revenue are less of a focus, but still going to try and learn on those as well. So for my 2026 goals, it comes down to 2 factors: output and packaging. That's it. So now that we've figured out exactly what's happening, we've interpreted the data, we want to backtrack and figure out what exactly caused us to get this data in 2025. So what we're going to do is now we're going to look at what we tried last year, what worked and what didn't. And this is the last part of the analysis phase. I promise we're going to get to goal setting very soon. And now that we've gone through and done all of that, it leads us to phase 2, my favorite part, which is goal setting. This is where things get really interesting because I don't want to set realistic data-backed goals. I want you to think big. I want you to think unrealistic and set 10x goals that seem impossible to hit. Let's say that last year you finally grew your channel to 10,000 subs. You started the year at 5,000, you made it to 10,000. That's doubling your channel size, right? Really impressive stuff. So let's say that for this next year, you want to double your channel again, to go from 10,000 to 20,000. That seems realistic. It's, a bit of an increase from last year, and you've proven you can do it. That seems great, right? Well, no. Actually, I think you should aim for 100,000. You should aim for this crazy goal that seems really far away, and this is why. Setting a 10x goal, a goal that feels unrealistic, forces you to rethink the way you do everything. If you continue to set the same goals year after year, you continue in the same thought patterns, the same processes, the same ways of making content. And it's really tough to stay relevant on the algorithm as it continues to shift, to stay relevant with your audience as they get recommended new content, and to keep growing at the pace you're growing if you follow in the same things year after year. Setting these 10x goals forces us to work back to figure out how the hell we're gonna get there, because they feel impossible, they feel monumental. But like I said at the start of this video, in 2022, I had 300 subscribers. I was gaining about 50 subs per year for like 6 years or something like that. And I felt really good about that momentum because it was just a passion project. But I told myself, I think I can do more. I want to hit 50,000 subscribers this year. And for me to get there, I knew that it would take a lot of quantity, a lot of learning, and just putting out a ton of content to figure out what people wanted. By setting that goal of 50,000 subs, I had to work back and figure out what I was trying to do and how I was going to get there. Now, here's the fine line. You want to make sure it's only 10x, because if you start setting these crazy 100x goals, it's really hard to actually believe it's possible. So 300 to 50,000, maybe don't try for that one. But if you have something like a 10,000 to 100,000 or a 1,000 to 10,000, I think you can set those goals pretty easily. So this is the way that I approach goal setting and how you can kind of get to that 10x goal and actually make it happen. We want to start by setting a North Star goal. And I'm going to be sharing everything that I'm actually hoping to do in 2026 on my main channel. So let's get into it. My North Star goal for 2026 is to hit 1 million subscribers on my main channel. That's a huge goal considering I have 159,000 and I only gained like 12,000 in the last year. Now, I want to share this fine line I was telling you about. 1 million seems really far away to my brain. It's something I've wanted since I was literally a little kid, but I also know that it's possible because I've worked with creators who have had videos that have blown up their channels, and I know what to do to reach an audience of that size. The truth is that I probably could have accelerated the growth on my channel this year just by posting regularly. But right now I'm posting 11 videos in a year. That's not enough to build up an audience to get people to really care about the message that I have on my channel. So if I just post 3 videos a month for the entire year, 36 videos, I feel ridiculously confident that I can get very close to that goal, if not. So it's believable, but hard to imagine. That's the fine line that we're aiming for with these goals. For what it's worth, 1 million divided by 159,000 is it's a 6.29x goal, so it's not even 10x. Maybe that's the sweet spot you want to aim for on your channel. All right, so with that in mind, my 1 million sub North Star goal, it's great and all, but how? How am I going to get to 1 million subs exactly? I need some sub goals, and by that sub goal I mean not a subscriber goal, but a under goal, a less North Star goal, if you know what I mean. Thinking about subscriber growth on my channel, right? It doesn't come because people randomly find my channel. It comes from videos being posted and those videos getting views. So for me to get that output goal of 1 million subscribers, I'm going to have to backtrack my inputs and figure out what I need to do as a creator to actually hit that goal. The truth is, it comes down to posting more videos that have a better chance of getting views. So my first sub goal, as I'm going to call them, is that I need to post 2 to 3 videos every single month, no matter what. Working up to weekly, ideally, if I can. And with that, there's some weak language in there, so I'm gonna completely change that. There is no if I can. I want to work up to weekly videos by the end of the year. I think I can, maybe I will. Those are all wastes of words. Take them out, have confidence, and be very clear in what you want. Okay, and posting 36 videos next year is great, but my average video viewership for this year has been about I think 10,000, something like that. That's not gonna get me to 1 million subs. I need to expand the viewership as well. I mentioned that the weakest area from last year was packaging, and honestly, I think the biggest part of packaging that I was lacking in is my ideation. The ideas are all over the place. They're a little bit complicated to understand, so I need to simplify my video topics and make them more digestible for a larger audience. Okay, perfect. That's 2 fantastic goals right now. The third one, improve thumbnail design and titling processes to make sure I can consistently hit 7% CTR. The 2 videos that did the best that were posted this year for me and my channel had 7% click-through rate and higher. So I need to aim for 7%, which means improving my titles and thumbnails. How am I gonna do that? They need to be simpler, easier to understand at a glance, and digestible, which conveniently leads us to phase 3, which is planning. This is the part where we create the plan to turn the goals that we just set into a reality. Because the truth is that even though these are ridiculous goals to us right now, people have done it before, unless you're Mr. Beast or something. If you're trying to go from 10 to 100,000 subs, for example, this is something that thousands of channels have done before. And it's something that you can do too. You just need to figure out how to get there. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So what needs to change for me to be able to get 36 videos out next year? What needs to change for me to have a better vetting process for my ideas? What needs to change for me to improve my packaging on my videos? Let's start by brainstorming that. Okay, so quickly summarizing what I brainstormed. Next year, I need to have a clearer message for my viewers to get behind. I need to create a clear format that's easier for me to create so that I don't have to, start from scratch every single time I produce a video, which is what I've been doing this year. I need to make sure that I get expert help. So if I'm trying to research a topic, speaking with experts so that they can help me get started, figure out what I need to focus on, all of that. Create clearer formats will also help me to, focus on just doing a couple things every single video to have a solid format that viewers can come back to. I need to stabilize revenue to help me pay people so that I can expand the team behind my content. And then from there, need to get some support with the production process. The things I need to learn for the next year to actually be able to achieve this is that I need to figure out what's engaging the audience, what's getting them to comment, what's getting them to subscribe, and really, ask questions, ask people for what they think. That's really going to be important for next year. Learn how to approach topics more efficiently, learn what 1 million subscriber channels, like what are they doing? I've worked with a couple, but I want to speak with more channels at that scale to figure out how they're producing content, how they're growing, and really what got them there. Do more studying so that I can apply some of those lessons. And then last but not least, the help that I need, really writing and production supports, editing and animating supports down the line, and right now, initially, research support. So just kind of listing all of these things out. The goal with this, and I recommend you go more in depth than I did, this is a very high level brainstorm, is that you genuinely work back so far from that huge North Star goal that you have for 2026 that it feels believable and almost impossible not to hit it. This is where we frame our brains to make this 10x goal seem realistic, to make it seem like something that should be like clockwork. We know what we need to learn, what things we need to put in place to get to our goal, and the things that need to change for next year. That way we can create a plan for every single month. I recommend that you create a month-by-month plan that's going to slowly build you into the person who can hit that North Star goal. Remember that it's not important that you hit that North Star goal this year, but that you feel confident and become the person who can. When I set that goal of going from 300 subs to 50,000 in 1 year, I didn't hit 50,000. I hit 49, so I guess close enough. But the truth is that I felt confident. I felt like I could be a YouTube creator who continued to scale every single year. Meanwhile, 3 years later, I let a lot of the habits that got me to 50,000 subs slow me down in 2025. So now I know what I need to do to keep growing next year. And I know that I need to push myself. I need to break my comfort zone and stop focusing on, the semantics of the edit and all of those things, and really focus on what the audience wants. Really make that 20% of content that people want to see more of. I personally feel right now, having gone through and done this, even at a high level, I feel feel a lot more confident in hitting my 1 million North Star goal for next year. And I hope that you do too. In case you haven't already done it, like I said, this template that I've been using in this video is linked down below in the description. I strongly recommend that you try this out because it genuinely did change my life a few years ago. Before the end of the video though, I do want to share some tips on what actually helped me to hit my goals in the last few years so that you can do it for yourself. The first thing is that I recommend you go through and plan out what your week would look like if you were actually at the end destination, if you would hit your North Star goal, and start living that now if you can. Because the truth is, as soon as you can adopt the mindset of the person you want to become, the faster you will reach those goals. It is not some like fake it till you make it bullshit. The truth is that if you literally put yourself in the shoes of where you want to end up, it will help you to make choices as though you are already there and really understand what's going to take you to your goal. Second, this isn't something you do once and never look back on. I recommend you literally print off this document and keep it on your desk, or you write out your goals and keep them on your monitor. This is something you should be checking in on every single week. Reflect on what you did that week. Did it take you closer to your goal or farther away? And use that to adapt your actions for the next week. Don't let this become something that just sits for the next year and you end up regretting not taking action sooner. New Year's ultimately are just another day on the calendar. It's another year that is resetting, and if you don't change your behaviors, it's not going to change your outcomes either. This process is designed to help you genuinely change your outcomes, genuinely change your behaviors. So if you do this and you follow through for 2026, I strongly believe that you can get anywhere you want to get. Creators like Eric have gone from 0 to 1 million in a year. So why can't you? So anyways, keep coming back to this, keep learning, keep growing, and you'll get there. Now, if you want to work with me to speed up the pace that you can hit your goals, I have something for you. I built my community launchpad to be the best way to help creators master YouTube and start making money from their content. And until the end of the year, which is running out soon, if you join on an annual plan, I'll give you a free 90-minute call to plan out your content for the next year. With me, by the way. Now, once you've created your plan for 2026, it's important to know what's changed on the platform in the last year. So check out this video where I walk through the 10 most important changes on YouTube in the last year.